So you failed and you swore you'd never try again. Maybe your confidence has been totally knocked down. But lately, you're starting to kind of stir. You're starting to feel a little hopeful, like you're really not meant for this W-2 job. Something big is coming, something big is coming, even if you don't know what. I'm Diane Prince. I sold a staffing agency for $28 million that I built from scratch in 6 years. But failures also knocked me hard. I know what that moment feels like because I lived it. Okay. I had wins. I had a big win. And I had some other big wins, but I had one really big win. Okay, $28 million. That's nothing to sneeze at. Okay. Then I got hit with a loss that knocked me out so hard. I had a divorce and I had a clothing business that failed. Finally, and I was raising 3 kids by myself. Well, not by myself, but as a divorced mom. And I took a job just to feel safe again. I had never had a W-2 job since 1996. Okay. I was in that job and it felt good for a little while. It was just what I needed at the time. But 18 months later, I left that job with a very small safety net. Okay. So let me tell you why this like weird optimism feeling may be your biggest clue that you're ready to try again and how to do it. Okay. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to know if your comeback is calling and how to answer it without repeating the mistakes that took you down. As a business coach, I get to talk to a lot of different entrepreneurs and learning and hearing their stories that a lot of people went through the same thing as I did and knocked their confidence down was really helpful for me. So failure hurts. It hits you. It hits your bank account. It hits your ego. It hits, in my case, your family. My family can hit your identity. You know, my identity is so wrapped up in entrepreneurship. But staying down, if you are truly have the entrepreneurial spirit, it's not safety. It's stagnation. You tried once, and if you failed, that doesn't mean you're broken. It makes you brave. We don't talk about this enough. That weird joy that shows up before your next big thing, it's like your body knows before your brain does. Don't ignore that. That's data. Okay, so after I had that job, then it was COVID, and everyone said I was being reckless. Everyone said, do not leave your job. Okay, my job even, I told them I was going to leave to start my business. They even asked me to start my business on the side. They even offered to fund my business, but I wanted to do it a certain way, and I knew what I wanted. Okay, so everyone said that it wasn't a good idea, but you know what? They didn't live my journey. They didn't feel the readiness that I felt. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need to believe. Okay. I reasoned it out with a lot of people, and then I filtered through that advice and what I knew was right for me. And huge gratitude and shout out to my dad, who has been very conservative business wise and was in the same job for 35 years in a corporate job. And he's always been my biggest cheerleader because he admires the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial spirit that I have, because he could never do it. So if you're talking to people who value a safe job, they are probably going to have a very different feeling than you. Okay. And I never look back. Quitting that job to start my next business was the best gift I ever gave myself. Okay. You're not starting from scratch either. Okay. You're starting from experience. You're starting from insight and from resilience. The next time around, you're clearer. You might be more focused and way less attached to doing it perfectly. Okay. I've been an entrepreneur for years with a big old success and then a few other big successes, and then a giant loss knocked the wind out of me. It just knocked the wind out of me. I felt shame. It was terrible. And for years, I was stuck in that mindset for years. Okay. I pretty much only recently got out of it. Okay. I got a job and felt okay, but I was like, gosh, I I really am an entrepreneur. Something just wasn't right. Okay. And then I quit with not a lot in the bank during COVID with 3 kids. And I believe everyone's journey is different. Okay. So I'm really glad I took the leap again. This is not for everybody. For some people need a year in the bank to know that it's safe. Some people can start a business on the side of their full-time jobs, but that is just not me. Okay. I didn't have a big old safety net, but I had clarity and I had fire. And now I'm doing way better. I am not only monetarily, because I'm making about 4 times as much as I did in that W-2 job, and that was a good job. And I'm also doing so much better mentally. I'm 56 years old. I don't feel like I have to retire again. I was retired in my 30s when I sold my business. I don't feel that way anymore because I spend my days doing what I want. Also, because of my virtual assistant team, they pretty much do everything. They pretty much run the business. So it's pretty much like, it's almost like I'm retired. Like I do pickleball, I go to the gym, and I make videos, and I do some other things too. I read novels. So I travel, I'm really doing the things that I love to do. And I'm not fantasizing about retiring. Okay. So if you're feeling that same pull, if you're feeling maybe there's some fear mixed in with your possibilities, here are some tips that I recommend. Okay. Get clear on what you want, not what you think you should do, but what lights you up. Look, I believe we are only on this planet once. Okay. Your vision doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be yours. Okay. What are your strengths? What do you want to do? Start small. Start with a minimum viable product, okay? That's what they call it in the startup world. For me, in this business, in my virtual assistant business, I started with business coaching because why? There were no expenses that I had to put up. I knew I could do it. I got clients pretty easily. I just went on an online forum and just started answering questions for entrepreneurs. I got a client. Once I got 3 clients, I quit my job, okay? So pick a low stakes way to test your idea. For me, I'm all about bringing money in as quickly as possible. Okay. Not setting up your LLC and your website. Dude, I got my first client by just saying, I answered a question that she posted on this women's in tech forum. It was called Alpha. It's not there anymore. But all I did was reply. I answered her question about her startup. And I said, hey, by the way, I'm a business coach. I did not have any business coaching clients. I said, hey, by the way, I'm a business coach. And if you'd like, book a call with me. She did other people book calls. She paid for 3 months in advance. Bam. Then I had 2 more really quickly after that. Okay. So I knew my minimum viable product, and I knew coaching isn't scalable. I love building scalable businesses. So I knew that coaching was going to lead me to something else. Okay. So pick a low stakes way to test your idea and try to get money in the door as quickly as possible. Okay, I did not have a website. I did not even have a landing page. I had no billing system. I just quick sent her an invoice in PayPal. Bam, I knew I had a business. Okay, get support. You can get support early. You don't have to do this alone. Okay, whether it's coaching, okay, and you don't have to spend a fortune on coaching. There's so much free content out there. Like my YouTube channel, by the way, subscribe and like if you like this video. There are so many ways that you can self-coach, okay? Or if you have the budget, you can hire a coach. You can hire an entrepreneur coach. And just ask ChatGPT, like, what are the things that I should be asking a coach when I interview them? Okay. So whether it's a coach, whether it's community or maybe freelancers, build your support before the pressure kicks in. Okay. And don't be looking at friends and family who don't believe in your vision and who are scared, because that's their fear, not yours. Okay. So be courageous, and you will be courageous for listening to that voice that says, yeah, I can do this. Okay. If you're here right now in this limbo between fear and possibility, you're not alone. Okay. So if you want someone in your corner while you build your comeback, I do some limited business coaching. There's so many good coaches out there, but you ask me if I'll see if I have space. I coach about like 3 people at a time, or look through my content. There's so much advice there. There's so many, but also I have to say, don't get overwhelmed by all of the content out there. That's really important too. And I built my business this time around with virtual assistants at like 90% of savings of having people domestically, and they are fantastic, and they're all making great salaries for in their part of the world. Okay. So like and subscribe and share this video with anyone who's standing on the edge of their second shot. Somebody right before I started, she actually wrote, I was in this online happy hour like during COVID, and she wrote a poem about diving in the water and just going in. And it was really that poem that was the inspiration that made me finally quit and do it. And I am so happy. That was 5 years ago, and I absolutely am loving my life. So sometimes the hardest part is believing you still can. I'm here to tell you that you can. I'm Diane Prince. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.